too, so you can collate that and use it as data for going forward, so that, you know, as an experiment, say in 10 years' time, we come back and we have the same conversation, only this time there's 1,000 people in the room. And everyone's on the same page, and we want to be able to have a marine reserve, a rockery around the island, maybe, and just buy our own gunboat.
Gunboat.
Big shell. Is there an organic ammunition there?
Dealing with prisoners. We'll worry about the gunboat.
We'll fire Pookie first.
While we're dreaming big, maybe with more than 1,000 people in the room, we need 1,000 penguins in the room.
I like it.
Onto that note of citizen science, and so some of the programs that we do, we work with Haggitt up in Maitai Bay in the far north, and we helped them establish their rahui and monitoring program. So we could work alongside Tim so that the data was valid for Tim's work, and then be able to train up locals on island to be able to do the surveys by snorkel, so something that was really accessible for locals.
Cool.
So we could definitely look into that.
Yeah, for sure. You know.
So could we have a goal of getting locals to agree to a rahui?
Put rahui on it.
Yeah.
Capital letters
You mean LOCA,
Is there like a specified process of setting up a marine reserve? Like you do A, B, C, D,
It's almost impossible.
and how do you start that process?
We do have a resource called How To Kit, which I'll make sure I share with Elizabeth. Some of that might be slightly out of date now, but this process to actually get an official marine reserve is exceptionally difficult. We haven't had one since 2014 in New Zealand, which is pretty interesting. But rahui, I reckon, rahui have a very important role to be able to have, as long as it's long-term and no-take, as the late Roger Grace said, it doesn't matter what it's called, as long as it's long-term, no-take.
And Waiheke, as you know, has got 4 species that have just been scallops, paua,
Kodo
Kodo.
and kutai,
mussels. Yeah. And that began as an iwi-based rahui that then was enacted into law quite recently by the Minister for Oceans.
Right. So it's a good time.
Yeah, there's a lot of rahui
It
that are
is
being
the time
officially.
to kind of follow that energy
Yes, definitely.
over here.
And I think it sends a signal,
Yeah.
a strong signal that, hey, people have had enough, or, you know, we want to start, because, you know, things aren't being managed properly at the top, I believe that, right? So,
Why is it so hard? Is it just utter lack of political will?
I think bureaucracy itself is really challenged. It's not designed fit for purpose, you know, in all elements of, you know.
Yeah,
and there's new initiatives coming out at the moment. Seeing the results of the sea change process. Actually, Alex and Moana can talk to that more than me, but you know, that we're in a bit of a transition. We've been in a holding pattern. We're in a transition phase. So yeah, it's just there's been a lot of inertia for a while.
people obey the rules, but the rules are wrong, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah, and they're slow. Yeah, exactly. They're slow to keep up to date with what's actually happening. But all of that aside, you can put that to one side, and then but just get on with things. You know?
I think it's got to start. It's about taking ownership. Like it's ours to look after. Not waiting for a rule or a...
Local rahuis do work. I worked with the Devonport 20 odd years ago.
Yeah, right.
And it started with the Cheltenham Beach surveys, which were mostly run. And what was happening is every single year, all the populations were dropping, until it got to the stage where we were putting lines out and you're doing count of zero. And after that, the rahui came in, and it's improving. You know, I walk on the beach, I can see, you know, the population's coming back, and that's just walking along the beach. You don't need to actually do a survey or something. But nobody is taking things from the beach. If you see somebody looking as if they're taking something, locals will go up and tell them and say, hey, oh, you can't read the sign. This means no. Go away. And it does work. And if you can get that local buy-in, that's a great thing.
Okay, I think now is probably time to just wrap up this formal part of the conversation. Tim, I really want to thank you so much for coming. I feel like we've been absolutely honoured with your knowledge and your amazingness. And Lorna, EMR, without you, I don't think this would have been as possible with a Cyclone Brewing. And also the fact that for those of you who want to, Woody Bay is the place for the guided snorkel, and Lorna and her amazing team will be doing that from now-ish. Kevin's going to give them a lift shortly. I also want to say that Moana Tamariki Poke from Ngāti Whātua Orake, who is here and continuing conversations after this particular meeting, and she is, has done all sorts of things with restoration and also was on the Hauriki Gulf Forum for 10 years, including as co-chair, and her lovely husband John. And Alex Rogers is here as well, Executive Officer of the Hauriki Gulf Forum over here. So, and the Norirota siblings, Sue and Rod. If we want to stay here, those of us who do, to continue conversations, we also have space on this whiteboard and a couple of other colours that really haven't been employed. So we can continue this corridor, and then snorkelling can start. Who's going snorkelling? Yoo-hoo! And also there's a snorkel planned for Otata in February, I think it's the 20th. And there's talk now that we might get Steve, or the shuttle at least, to come and do a run from Raki North to Otata. For those of you who have never been there and want to experience that, that's a possibility. So that's just a conversation. And then you can see what an amazing place the neighbours are. Cool. Kia ora.
Kia ora. Thanks, Tim.
So, you know how we're saying the lobster eats the kinna, okay, and then the kinna reduces the kelp, okay. Where does the kelp may end up? That ends up on the land, okay. So, if we've got lobster controlling kinna, we've got more kelp onto the foreshore. This is taken. So kiwi come down onto the beaches, and there's a decaying kelp there, and then underneath it's all the amphipods and things like that, right? And that's what they feed on. So there you go. I made a loose link, but yeah.
What is the relationship between these? If anyone is interested in the possible shuttle between Otata and Rakino for our snorkel day, make sure you find me and I'll grab your details so that I can keep you in the loop with what might be done. And a huge thank you for Elizabeth to organise this.
Thank you for the screen. I couldn't bring a TV and a whiteboard,
And for the people who turned on the switches,
Cool.
you can't do it without
No worries. No worries. Come here. Awesome. Yeah, no worries.
On your cup.